So recently, guys, this is crazy. So a year ago, I had played Batman Arkham Asylum, and I decided I was going to grab my full playthrough from the main channel, and I was going to re-upload it on my gaming channel as a full video. So instead of it being split up, hour long this, hour long that part, it was just going to be a full video length. And it turned out to be 11 hours. And it's so strange because I was looking through the footage, and we look at the conversation today surrounding gaming. I don't know what the simplest way to put this is, so I'll put it the simplest way I can imagine it, because these conversations, they get tiring to have. Especially when it comes down to leftist retards who sit there and they jerk off to ugly women. They literally think that it's normal for women to have makeup on, for one, that women look like hideous creatures without makeup, that you need to accept that women look like hideous monster creatures without makeup on, and you are apparently gay if you're not attracted to women that look like dudes. I don't really know how that works, but yes, that's how a lot of leftists, that's how they think. They are absolutely retarded. And they also get triggered when you call them retarded, because somehow being blatantly stupid, you should not be calling someone blatantly stupid, especially when they should know better. So, I don't know what the frick is going on nowadays. I am lost. Because it has become very clear to me that retardation is spreading. People have completely lost their minds. I want you to understand something. Back when Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Red Faction, Gorilla, games like that, there's a bunch of obscure games. We can go down an exhaustive air quotes, but let's just honestly, for the time, an exhaustive list of games that used to have sexy women everywhere that you went. It was insane. I mean, I think back to so many games, and that includes the Batman Arkham games. It used to be every game, it would just have sexy female, sexy woman here, sexy woman there. Sexy women were a staple of gaming. Every game you picked up, anywhere between the 2000s to the early 2010s, sexy women were a staple of all games. But then a bunch of feminists, they got upset that there was an industry for men called gaming, where women were sexy and hot and beautiful, and we were all like, dang, look, those busty curves and busty breasts, and you were like, dang. I mean, I don't know about busty curves, but you know what I mean. So anyways, you were looking at these thin, curvaceous, normal, healthy women. Yeah, by the way, when women are in shape, they look like the women in these games. But there's a bunch of women that are too lazy nowadays to keep themselves in shape. So they're all pudgy and fat. Well, that's your fault that you're an obese land whale. That's your fault, no one else's. And the fact that men don't find you attractive, and the fact that they call you out for being ugly and hideous, and that makes them gay. And that is, by the way, the majority of these losers, they happen to be obese. Or they happen to be ugly, and they get offended that you have such the gall to call out how ugly many people who don't take care of themselves are. And so I don't know what this is. Is it feminists and what they find attractive? Yes. Is it minorities and what they find attractive? Yes. Is it gays and what they find attractive? Yes. By the way, do not forget, pick up my books, Charles Arlington, on Amazon. Pick up my crap. This is the remedy and the solution to wokeness in our media and wokeness in our storytelling. And if you want to show a giant FU to these gays and these feminists, and also these obese land whales trying to F up our games and our media, pick up my work. I make my stuff because no one else can make anything legitimate anymore. Anyway, what I've now realized is that ugly women have now become a staple to our games, and masculine women, women without any breast size, and This has been inundated for so many generations that now you have the generations, they've been desensitized to ugly women in our games. It's very fascinating for me to watch. I have a hard time with it. Because like I'm just realizing how many people now, they think that masculine and ugly women are normal. And that it's not, when you sit there and say, no, I like women that are curvaceous, I like women that are feminine, you know, what women used to look like 15, 20 years ago, they gaslight you and say that, oh, your standards were lower back then, that's why you think that women were more attractive back then. What the frick? Dude, these people just make stuff up. But this is what they say. They literally cope. Women are supposed to look masculine because they want you to think that men and women are androgynous. And when you say that, no, that's not what women look like, and no, dysgenic women are not normal, they tell you, no, there's something wrong with you, and whatever you found attractive a couple of years ago, that's just wrong, and you made it all up. So bro, I mean, come on, man. Just look up any film from 2014 and before that. 2014 and before the Trump era, for whatever reason, he awoke all the leftist retards, but it was creeping in before then. It's just that they were mobilizing during 2012 and after, and they gained maximum momentum basically when Trump took office. That's when it all happened. And yes, by the way, this is because of Obama and his second term. He really mobilized ESG. And then Trump, well, you know, there's a reason why Trump was a politician. There's a reason why he was a thing. There's a reason why there's an entire MAGA movement, an entire right-wing movement, because these people are taking over America, and they've taken over quite a bit, the economy and many other things. They have possessed the entire economy, the entire culture, with their politics that no one asked for. They want to flood your country with a bunch of blacks and browns. And that's what they've been doing to the EU and America. And when you push back, they gaslight you and they say that you're wrong and you're evil and you're all these things. Just for you simply saying, no, I want what America was from the founding up until 2012. Before many things drastically began to shift. When you say that you want the traditional, the conventional things that we all knew and loved within America for so long, they call you crazy. Just look at what movies and games were like, man. 2014 and before that. Sexy women everywhere. Overwatch is a proto-woke game. But even in proto-woke games, like Overwatch, for instance, women were still curvaceous and attractive, even though, for instance, in Overwatch, they were reducing the breast size on women, like Black Widow, or whatever the F her name was, because, or no, her name was Widowmaker, right? They reduce her breast size, they still try to sexualize her, they reduce her breast size so that, you know, the whole thing with feminists, and it's like, oh, you know, unrealistic body standards and all this nonsense, whatever. Jeez Louise, man. I mean, it's unrealistic for you. It's realistic for many other women. Yeah, there's a lot of busty chicks who go to the gym and yeah, they look good. And it might not be you. Get the frick over it. But this is the thing. They can't stand that other people are more desirable than themselves, right? I mean, for some reason, right? I guess Henry Cavill, is he an unrealistic male? Every man needs to look like a twink now? Anyways, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how these people think and how they speak. So they want games to look different now. They want men and women to be ugly now. And that's really what they want. They want men to look like women, and they want women to look like men. And when you look like, by the way, I came out with a review recently for Eternal Strands, okay? A game called Eternal Strands came out recently. There's a bunch of other games like it, like Dragon Age, The Veilguard, and whatnot. And literally, the men look like women or want to be women, and the women look like men or want to be men. This is disgusting, vile filth, but they want you to think it's normal. So that's where we've ended up nowadays with the gaming industry, is that what used to be known as normal you're now being gaslit, told day in and day out by these freaks that you're the weirdo, that desiring attractive women makes you weird. Now, of course, these women, they desire attractive men, and no one tells them that they're weird for that. And also these gay freaks, they also want attractive men, the homosexuals. So again, these are the gays and the feminists. And by the way, this is why I write my books. I mean, also just for the sake of making a good story. But again, no one's making good stories anymore. No one has decent, just normal people anymore as characters. Because the gays and the feminists took everything over. So of course, this is why I drink and this is why I write. But not really. Anyways. But this is what we get now in our games. And you see this time and after time and after time again. We're seeing how these people make fun of you for expecting normal women. Maybe with Eurocentric beauty standards. Yeah. Maybe a lot of white men, which means in America and the EU, which right now are being stormed by a bunch of browns, but maybe men find Eurocentric beauty standards appealing and they find that normative. Because yes, that is much more desirable than the other demographics and their beauty standards, which are wide jaws and women that look like dudes. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys, they don't find it attractive. Yeah, men want to find white women attractive and they want to see white features on women, specifically white women, in their games. Oh, that's what we used to get in our movies, in our games. But now, and it's so crazy because you also have these retards, they'll sit there and tell you, you want real people to look like 3D characters. It's so unrealistic and you're a weirdo for that. Really? Really? Did you ever think that maybe 3D characters look like real life people? Especially the healthier that you are? There are dudes who look like Batman, you know. If you actually go to the gym, if you actually take care of your body, you can look like Batman. It's not that hard. Well, it takes a lot of dedication, but it doesn't matter. And you can also do steroids if you want to get there faster. But you can get there. There's plenty of guys that get there. So you're going to say that's unrealistic? Or I'm sorry, Eve from Stellar Blade. Is that unrealistic? Is Tifa unrealistic? Busty women, attractive, curvaceous women who take care of their bodies. Is that unrealistic? So you're saying that dysgenic people who don't work out, who don't take care of themselves, they eat bad food that makes them look terrible and ugly. So they have bad nutrition. Are you saying that's normal? Because that is what they're saying is normal. And for some reason, you need to bend the knee to unattractive and unappealing men and women. But most importantly, women, because we all care about the beauty of women. These retards also think that they're getting a one-up on you. I don't understand who these freaking retards are, but there's so many of them now. This is not normal. Remember this is not normal 15, 20 years ago. But now, ever since the era of wokeness has been creeping in more and more, this wasn't even, by the way, this was not even normal 10 years ago, but it was creeping in during that time. These people then have the gall to sit there and say, well, how attractive are you? Speaking upon the attractiveness of women. So how attractive a man is, that dictates whether or not you have the authority to talk about the attractiveness of women? Really? So, whether or not you're attractive as a guy, that dictates the attractiveness of women. And whether or not you should speak on that. I mean, how retarded do these people have to be? And at some point, man, again, this is why I say these people are just exhausting. Because this is what it is. They want people to be ugly. And they want you to accept ugly people. If you do not bend the knee to ugliness in gaming and media and whatever, when you do not bend your knee to ugly people, there's something that's wrong with you. There's nothing that's wrong with them. It's everything that's wrong with you. So right now what we're seeing is that we're seeing America get stormed in by a bunch of browns, and they find masculine women attractive. Well, okay, you came into a white country where Eurocentric beauty standards are what is attractive. Yes, white men find white women attractive, and yes, they find those traits desirable. I'm not going to go any further because yes, also the blacks, they don't find their own women attractive, but I'm going to overlook that. I don't want to talk about it. It makes it even more annoying. It's like, just stay in your country. Just stay in your country and stay with your women. Nobody wants to deal with how you cope with having ugly women. No one wants to cope with that. But anyways, this is what these freaking retards do. They infiltrate your industries. They infiltrate your countries. And then they tell you that you should find what's ugly to be desirable. And then they sit there, right? And the fact that everyone finds white women to be attractive, especially inside of white countries, they're like, well, we need to transform and change that. Oh, really? So go bone yourself, that's number one. Literally go find a rope and chew on it. But on top of this, it is so sad for me to see how it used to be normative. Remember that word. Used to be normal for women to be beautiful and attractive in games. They used to have nice breasts, nice curves, and now you're a weirdo for finding that desirable and wishing to have that in your games, in your movies, in your television shows. You know how many women used to be freaking hot in television shows and movies and video games? It's unbelievable how many women were attractive everywhere. And now when you sit there and you say, you know, the women that they're pushing onto us nowadays are not attractive, and what happened, and why are they pushing onto us unattractive women? What happened? You get gaslit every time. It is unbelievable, man. So now you have to find flat-chested chicks attractive, not busty women with enormous breasts. You can't find them attractive. You have to find women with wide jaws attractive, not women with narrow and petite jaws. You can't find that attractive. You have to find women with a bunch of fat on their hips and on their waist. You have to find them attractive, not the women who are curvaceous and have thin hourglass shapes. You have to find women that don't take care of themselves. You have to find them attractive. And you have to find women that do take care of themselves. I guess they are disgusting mongrel beasts. Screw these people, man. They're absolute filth. And this is why, by the way, Hollywood's losing money. This is why nobody cares about any television shows coming out anymore these days. This is why everyone's going back to the old stuff. And this is why modern gaming is a failure. Because freaking freaks like you overtook these industries, and now you're pushing your own filth and your own nonsense onto the normative population. And now everyone either has two options: fight the freaks, push back, and retake ground that you allowed to be lost or was taken from you, either way. Or you simply have to give up. Ignore all the media that's coming out today. Ignore all the products coming out today and just say, whatever, fine. Whatever, fine. I guess we just have to accept ugly people. And I guess I'm just no longer going to watch movies. I'm no longer going to play games. I guess I'm done. So you either have to fight it or give up. And by the way, let me be very clear about something here. Understand that we have normalized ugly women so far and extensive that now men are... they're obsessing over women nowadays, like Sydney Sweeney. Dude, this chick is average compared to 10, 15, 20 years ago. She's average, bro. But because women have been uglified for so long, now a chick like Sydney Sweeney is being treated like a 9 out of 10. No, she's like a 7. Literally. Yeah, she has nice breasts, but come on. There's a bunch of chicks hotter than her. But this is what happens. When you push ugliness for so long, above average becomes gorgeous. But now, for the left, because for the right-wingers, it's above average that is gorgeous 10 out of 10. That's how much the standards have shifted, because you're normalizing uglier and uglier people. Understand this though now. The left, they want you to believe that average and below average people, women, they must be regarded as beautiful, as gorgeous, as 10 out of 10 beauty. Bro. Freaking bro.